So, welcome back again. We're going to go straight on to the first non-solved challenge of the labs, which is the blind SQL injection with conditional responses. So let's have a look at this. This lab contains a blind SQL injection vulnerability. The application uses a tracking cookie for analytics and performs a SQL query containing the value of the submitted cookie. The results of the query are not returned and no error messages are displayed, but the application includes a welcome back message in the page when the query returns any rows. The database contains a different table called users and a column, with columns called username and password. So you will need to find the blind SQL injection vulnerability to find out the password of the administrator user. Okay, cool. So blind SQL injections, like described there, they don't give you an error message. So knowing that we're not going to get a error message back, we will go into this with a sort of true-false mindset to try and figure out what we can get the application to return based on a Boolean value, but whether it's true or false. So let's go in and we'll start the lab. I have actually hooked this up to Burp this time because this may be a bit easier to do in Burp than just the browser. So let's quickly open up our Burp and we'll intercept and just go into anywhere. So here's the tracking ID as we've seen. So let's send this request to repeater. Forward it on. So this is what the request looks like on request that's not been tampered with. So here we get the welcome back, which is what it said in the notes. So in saying that, before we move on, let's go back to the lab description. Let's just make some notes. So we know it's a blind, let me just do that in, blind SQL injection. The message was welcome back on a true response. So a response that returned rows. And there's a table called users and the columns are called username and password. And we have to find the user to compromise was administrator. Cool. So now we've got that noted. Let's try and do the lab. Let's try and compromise this account. So let's go and grab Burp Suite. So let's just add a single quote into here, single apostrophe, similar to the last labs. We want to see something break. But before we click send, let's grab this and put it into here and always scroll. So if it doesn't match, it won't scroll to it. But if we take this out, we should get the value back. Okay, so that's our sort of baseline right there. So if we do a logical attack that will always return true or false, depending on which way we want to do it, we can do an and 1 equals 1, or we can do an a, so and a equals a, like that. That's true, but if we change this for b, we won't get anything back. Okay, so let me explain just what happened here. Go over here. We have a SQL query that is looking for the tracking ID cookie, and we've given it a logical value, a logical sort of clause that will either match true or false, and it has to return the result set if it's true. If it's false, then it won't return anything, and we can control that clause. So let's say we've got select everything from analytics, where analytics ID is equal to the token that we've got. This one here, it's tracking ID. We'll say analytics for now. And this is where this is our sort of injection point. So what we do is we do as we were previously. We do an apostrophe, and we go and a equals to a, right? So a is always going to be equal to a. So this matches because we know that was true from the first test. This matches because a is obviously equal to a. But what happens when we do a is equal to b? It didn't return the rows. So as such, we didn't get the response back. So we know that we can control this, and we know that there's a true condition here. So what we want to do is copy this, and we're going to write the payload out manually. So this is our injection point, as said before. And what we want to do is we want to enumerate or loop over the password character by character and seeing whether we can compare it to a character that we can control, like A or B or C. And if it returns true, then obviously that's the password character at that substring. We can use a function called Substring. And there's a function called length, which will tell us which or how long a character is. There's also something called a subselect, which we're going to perform as well. So a subselect is just a query within inside a query, but it has to get the results that we want to use, it has to match something within the sort of parent query. And I know that sounds confusing, and I'll show you what I mean. So here we go and select equals, well, here we go, A. No, we want to select A, sorry, A equals A. From users where username is equal to administrator. What happens if we use this as our payload, right? So this should give us back something true. Welcome back. Okay, so we know that there is a username called administrator in there. So what we need to do is we need to find the length of the password, ideally, otherwise we'll never know when it stops, during the enumeration phase anyway. And then we want to start doing a substring on it, and then we can determine which characters go where. So let's do that now. So we want to select, we can still select that, but in the where clause, we want to do and password is, no, sorry, the length of the password is greater than, we'll start with 1. And as long as it's greater than 1, we'll get the welcome back message. And we do 2. Again, it's there. If we did 99, it will fail probably because the password won't be longer than 99. So we don't get the response back. We know that's working. So if we do 10, just as a good start point, so it is bigger than 10. Is it bigger than 11? Bigger than 11, 12, 13, 18. Yep. 20. Nope. So it's bigger than 18. And it is bigger than 19. So if it is equal to 20, it is equal to 20. Okay, so it's a 20 character length password. Well, that's fine. What we can do now, we want to do a substring. So we can change this query now. So in fact, let's go back to our notepad. So what we want, grab this. So what we want to do here is a substring. So, and remove that. Do select substring of password, first characters. So this is an offset and the length. So we want, in fact, we want to start from the 0. I think the 0 character. It might be 1. I'll have to check that in a minute. So from users where username is equal to administrator, and that can equal to A as well. If the first character of the password equals A, then we'll get the result. If not, we can do it to B, C, D, etc. Let's push this into here. It's not A. Try B, C, D, E. Oh. Let's send this to, I think the best way to do this is send this to intruder. And what we can do is grab this and put that as the payload. And in fact, we can just, we don't have the list because it's not the pro version. That's fine. Let's just do it in here then. Let's just write out the alphabet manually, line by line. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Let me do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z, and then 0, 9, 8. I didn't put them on new lines. And then we'll just do some common punctuation, grammar, whatever you want to call it. So here we should know when the length is different, we know that's going to be the password character. A successful query will return the welcome back message, and then the length will obviously be larger from the response. Okay, so that first attack didn't work. I believe that's because the substring actually needs to start from 1. If we start that attack again, we should see something come in. There we go. So the first one is A. So if we look for welcome back in here, yeah. Okay, so we can actually kill that now. We know the first character is A, and we know there's a 20 character password. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a couple more, and then I'll just sort of skip it, and you can just see it at the end. It's just going to be the same process repeated. But all we need to do just for the next one is number 2. Continue. And then when we get a value that's changed, that's the next character in the password. Oh, there we go. So we've got an R for this one. Let's add that to the password. Delete that. Number 3. Right, and here's for the last one. That literally took like 20 minutes to do, just because the intruder on Burp's Community Edition is really slow. But hey, here's the last one. Let's figure it out. What is it? Last character is going to be... Let's find out. Oh, the last character was Y. So, if I noted these down correctly, this should be the password for the administrator user. So administrator, and that should be the password, which it was. Now we've solved the lab. Awesome.